Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is Dr. Rao Kulusu. Wishing you Happy New Year. 1 day old already. Uh, I kind of started this talks on New Year resolutions that we could all participate and maybe consolidate our resolutions and share views on what we're going to do on certain things of the resolutions that we already planned. So I wanted to review relationships today, and we're going to go the resolutions, each letter, every day for about 10 days, and then we'll finish with. As you know, I was with other people who have joined me, and we were talking about this in some of my friends' rooms also, how we can do the resolutions better and maybe think about a little bit on certain areas and maybe bring in inward perspective and how to really make changes within ourselves and thereby outside our influence with family, with society, and everywhere. Okay, so this came to me the other day as I was telling my friends. I was sleeping, and then I woke up in the middle, and then all these letters came, and they kind of matched with resolutions. R for relationships, E for energy, S for self, O for ojas, L for loving, U for universal, T for Turiya, I for inward, O for others, N for new, and S for service. What that it is, you can take, for example, relationships and see what is my relationship with myself, with my loved ones, with my colleagues, with my um, friends and acquaintances, and with my career, and with my worldview and world, and like that. If you can really take a panoramic look of what was happening in those areas, I thought it would be a good exercise to really know where we stand in terms of that, and then when you review them, we can identify some areas that we definitely can um, change or enhance or augment whatever we are doing, maybe with a little bit more thought, a little bit more uh, uh, resolution about improving the relationship with all of that. For me, that was very important most of the time, and I kind of review them on an ongoing basis. And for example, my patients or my wife and kids, and for example, my colleagues, or my relationship to the planet and all that. Out of that, philosophies evolved where I wanted to give priority for the wellness of myself and other people, but mostly my patients and also my colleagues. So these things have evolved of burnout coaching, stress management for executive retention, transformation leadership for leaders that I was dealing with. I kind of presented servant leadership for them, and they grasped it with both hands because it was very fulfilling for them what they wanted to achieve in their role as a leader, but also it was very fulfilling for them personally. So that was continued since 2008. I have been doing these things informally, but then they taught us a lot of things together, and that is what we kind of aim to achieve anyway. So that was one example of reviewing our existing relationships with our philosophies, our way of life, our way of looking at things, and all that. That really helped me to shape that philosophy very well. So a lot of people approach me because relationship problems, especially the IT professionals, they're having a very fast-paced life, and they don't have the time to even stop and reflect on that, and they're kind of swept away by the events. So that kind of people have to have uh, pause and take a look at this kind of days. In spiritual sadhana practices of ancient Indians, Shankaracharya tells one time, how do you deal with not only daily tasks but also special days tasks? So the New Year had been a special day for us. So one of the things we do is to do the resolutions, right? So in that way, we can take a panoramic look at what was happening with everything that we are related to. To exist is to relate. If you don't have a relationship, you don't accept, acknowledge the relationship to the people, I think we are missing out something very valuable, and then we are bumbling around. So, but this kind of review, I think, is a good. It's not like living in the past, but then taking a look at them and coming back to the present and see what we can do with that. Okay, that kind of thing I was talking about. So let's take, what is our relationship with ourselves? How do we really think who we are, what we are doing with ourselves? Physical health, mental health, and also spiritual health too, right? These three areas we usually examine and see, where are we, what are we doing with our physical health? Is our diet to be reviewed? Is there optimal exercise? Do we have to relax more or sleep better? Or we have to clean up our mind? All those things can be reviewed, and then you can pay attention to that. Okay, so if you are coming from inside out, that is very good for you and for other people too. Actually, our ancient said, the only purpose of human life is to turn inward and find out who we are. So that's a spiritual practice. Everything oriented towards that will yield a lot of benefits to people, and also your main purpose will be served. So that is according to each goal and purpose. They can have career goals, they can have other goals that are all okay. But then having this kind of finding out who we are, if you have make it a goal and then really start with that in the morning, I think it's richly rewarding. There's so much that the ancients found out about this. I think all the modern scientists, doctors, including like me, we have to pay attention to that. I think we're going to miss a lot if we don't do that. That's my personal experience and opinion too. So find out, what is the relationship with yourself. Who do you think you are? Do you think you are the intellect? Do you think you are those degrees? Do you think you are those power structures that you have created? All that can be reviewed, and then you will come to a very good understanding about your tendencies, your habits, and your way of thinking and all that. And then you can resolute to look at them periodically and then make progress towards that goal of realizing yourself. If you're already like that, that's excellent. But if you are not, there's so much sadhana we have to do. We all have to do. That is about ourselves. I don't want to go too much detail because that is a subject that has to be dealt with separately. So we will, as we go to the Turiya, inward, and all these letters that we are using in this. Okay? And now, what are the relationship with your family, with your loved ones? That is something very, very important. And also, what is the relationship with your work and with your colleagues? And finally, what is the relationship with your society and with your community and with your country and with your world? I'm not exaggerating, but people don't even take a few minutes to think like that. But once you are like that, you will be able to really amass a lot of information that you are otherwise not paying attention to. That kind of thing really brings a clarity in your mind, and then your approach to everything, including the planet. You may want to conserve water, you may want to conserve electricity, you may not want to use the plastic. So, example like that. If you can be like that, then you will feel better about yourself because you are doing something good for the planet and society and your loved ones too. So that is what I'm saying, reviewing the resolutions regarding relationship. Uh, so anybody who wants to contribute, they're more than welcome to come up. I think Harjit, I think he's trying to come up. That's good. So let's see. Um, Hi, hello, came up. King Henry Henry. Okay, Henry, how are you?
I'm good, doctor. How you doing? Happy
I'm
New Year.
happy New Year too. So we are talking about New Year resolution relationship. You have some thoughts on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead and you want to tell us about it, Henry? Okay, he's silent for now. Maybe he will need some more time. So anyway, that is what I wanted to present to people, and people on Wisdom also welcome to come up, and Instagram also. If you want to go with that, I will be more than happy with that. Otherwise, let me continue. Um, as we saw the uh, as we saw the as we saw the relationship to ourselves and our family and our colleagues and everybody, other things come up like what do you want to do with your career? What is the relationship with your colleagues, your work staff? Do you have cordial relationships, or do you have antagonistic relationship, or you are kind of feel like a toxic atmosphere there? And those kind of things can help you reduce your stress. Otherwise you will be going through all of that. Or if you cannot escape the working conditions economically, you need to keep that. How can you change your reactions to uh, this kind of atmosphere that you are facing, so that you will be not affected psychologically, stressed out, mental stress? So that kind of review is very, very important too. I think that is if you take relationships, if you take career, if you take the relationship with the planet, I think these three are important for me in some terms of if you place them in order of importance. I was reading Stephen Covey's book of Seven Habits of Most Effective People, and he gives a table there where he wants you to document on one axis like what is important, what is unimportant for you, and the other one other axis he wants you to document what is urgent, what is non-urgent. So if you are doing important but non-urgent on a regular basis, then you will be doing the things in the long run important for you, and then but they are not urgent, you did not make them urgent. So it will be better to do that way rather than responding to urgently to the important things. That is what you want to avoid. So you can refer to the table and divide those four quadrants and stay in the quadrant of important, non-urgent. Those things you want to do in the long run. You can list them out and follow them. But if you are doing unimportant, things that are urgent, then it will be a problem. Or if you are staying in the non-urgent, non-important, then you are wasting time. So he gives a good explanation. What stuck to me was, what are the important things for me, like relationships, like career. uh, those things are very, very important, right, for a lot of people. And also for me, internal growth or internal awareness of what we are, that's very important too. And those are all can be long term things. That means they are non urgent. On a daily basis, what are we paying attention to, the most important thing for us, and then trying to avoid spending time and energy and resources on the things that are not important for us, no matter how much push comes from other people. That kind of thing will be very, very valuable, I think. You will be clear in your thinking, in your relationship with what is important for you, and you will achieve that. So that kind of thing I wanted to present here. So everybody can, refer to that table, and then make a table yourself and sit down and write down and have the clarity and go from there. Some people may not have the opportunity to do that, but no matter what you are, if you do that, you will be pursuing your important things in a non-emergent, leisurely, clear way. And not being sucked by other things that are not important for you. Okay, that is the structure I'm doing for myself, and I was presenting for you to review and see if it is valid. Maybe adopt it and then see for a while how it goes. Okay, that is what the relationship thing is. If you take the relationship, your own reading and your own study, your own improvement of your intellect inside, then you can say, what is my relationship to the knowledge out there? How I'm accessing to the books or seminars or now the social audio? Who are the people that are making an impact on my understanding or information or wisdom? you know and then you can select your how you spend the time with those people, with those themes that are talking about and being current. Suppose you are having a profession where you need to keep up with all the insights that are happening lately, then you can spend time there, right? Suppose you end up with the social media, and then you want to go in a intentional, purposeful way. That is better way of spending time. So consider your relationship, social media, consider your relationship to knowledge acquisition and improving yourself. Have a deliberate, planned out routines that may be very valuable to you and to the people you are spending time with. That's one thing I look at, and that I don't want to spend social media time unnecessarily. So I plan it according to what I want to do, what I want to contribute, and also what I want to learn from the social media. Okay, when it came to that, I'm doing a yoga session in the morning, and this is something new I started. And also in the night time, Central Time, 8 p.m., I do a room where I can take different topics, basically stress and burnout related, how we can handle with some hacks from the ancient wisdom, and wellness promotion. That's something close to my heart, to see people are really oriented towards the wellness. So plan that to social media. Otherwise, it can be like an addiction. It can be like totally consuming your time, and you get sucked into rooms that you may not want to be there also. And then it can take a lot of your time and energy, and at the end of it, you are taken away from your important tasks. So one other thing I did with the social media, especially the clubhouse, is because they are like a audio now. Wisdom, you have to be more one-on-one when you go on the stage to talk to a host, or you are hosting it. Otherwise, the same thing is the clubhouse also. If you are hosting, that's a different matter. Otherwise, I keep it like a radio and do my other stuff, so that other stuff will be done. And also, if you plan it ahead of time, which way you want to go about in the week, that may be better. Maybe participating in a certain group, and then that you are doing certain activities. That's much better. If you are casually listening, if you are going from room to room without any, uh, relationship with your main goals, then we can easily be sucked into it, and then we can spend all the time we want, but never really have the clarity about what we are doing on social media. I think that is a very important thing nowadays, because social media is kind of inventing a lot of ways to get our attention. So don't lose the attention span. Be very purposeful and intentional on social media. And other areas, I think, is what are you doing with your wellness? what is the relationship with the four pillars of wellness, which is my pet theme, as you all know. How are you eating? How are you moving and exercising? How are you relaxing and sleeping? And how are you keeping your mind rather clear and clarified? Those things you want to sit down and then on an ongoing basis revise and improve them and learn and then implement them. Okay. Always listen to people who are suggesting all these good things. There are so many people, functional medicine people, nutritionists, you name it. They are there. They can provide their knowledge and then we can use them. But then listen to them, question it, and find out the truth about them. And then once you have listened and absorbed the truth, make sure it is appearing in your life. You are implementing it. Otherwise, everything you listen to 10 different people and 10 different things, and they will go out of the way. So that is the thing too. What is my relationship with the responsibility of keeping well? Not only me, other people, especially in this day and age of uh, pandemic. So one of the papers I read that really thought very appropriate for our times was Sanjay Gupta's article on pandemic proofing our body, our mind, our home, and everything. Uh, Pandemic proofing. That means you really take the vaccines, you really implement the mitigating measures of wearing the mask, washing the hands, and keeping away from the crowds and indoor especially, and also really not going anywhere if you don't need to go. Also trying to put away the travel as much as possible. So basically taking responsibility not to spread the virus, and also protecting yourself by taking the vaccines. And my favorite pet is, what are you doing for your immunity? Natural immunity. It's not just taking the vaccine. Take that for sure, definitely. But then you also pay attention to your immunity genic foods that you should compare. And there are routines that you can do in terms of keeping healthy with optimal exercise, aerobic exercise, flexibility, generous strengthening, and also calming down your mind. That's very, very important. What we saw in the pandemic was people were, the moment they were diagnosed, they were going into the anxiety mode and generating so many stress hormones. When they really get the virus, instead of overcoming it, the immune response is kind of making them much more sick. And the cytokine syndrome, we saw people succumb, especially if they are not keeping up their health very well. So the immune system elevation is can be done. There are a lot of things, simple things you can do. You can go out, walk in the sun, get the vitamin D that you need, and then you can go into the forest and have a forest bathing, which is very, very good for you. And pay attention to the natural vitality rich foods. There are multiple foods that people can eat, from berries to mushroom to nuts to green leafy vegetables, and also kale, you name it, broccoli. So many things are there. I made a video on that, on the food, way back in 2020, I think, when the pandemic was raising. It's on my YouTube channel, Rao Kolusu. You are welcome to go and look at the various foods I talked about. So there are so many videos that I made. So if you can access to them, that will be informational for you. If you want that kind of information, so pay attention to the diet, optimal exercise, keep our mind clean, and sleep well too. All those things will enhance your immune system, and down the line, you will be better off against other infections that may crop up. So this pandemic should have taught us the lesson of how to really try to be strong against infections. Uh, Otherwise, if you are really mercy on the system, when you have this, you may not have optimal results from the care, because you may have this condition. Either you have underlying conditions that are really causing problems, or you have immunity so low, this infection itself is engulfing you. This is a very powerful virus that has shown us so many bad effects, not only the immediate acute illness, but after that they are suffering for the long haul. My heart goes out to them who are suffering for months and months. Some people are 1.5 year they have been suffering. Some of them are doctors. Some of them are nurses. So that's something we could pay attention to. See what is our relationship to this pandemic. What are we doing to pandemic proof our house, pandemic proof our children. All those things are there in that article by Sanjay Gupta. I thought that was a very good article to read about it. I mentioned about this a couple of days ago. I'm mentioning again so that people can take a look at it and then go through all of that. And then, if in terms of relationships, what is your relationship to the weather, to the water, to the earth, to all those elements that made you, and that we are polluting them, with our lifestyles? Are there anything on the relationship wise can I change? Can I stop buying anything plastic? Can I recycle more? Can I conserve water? Can I conserve power? Can I really eat nutritionally good food and also do to cultivate the earth's top surface out there? People are working on that, and we can get in touch with it. Even in Clubhouse, there are so many clubs that are oriented to ecology and how to help the planet. They are very passionate, really working very hard. People are there, and we can go and listen to them, learn from them, contribute to them, and encourage them. And all those things we can do with that. Okay. There is a guest waiting here. Let me get that wiki. Okay. Uh, on the Wisdom app, wiki is coming up. Let's see. Hi, Wiki. Hello.
Yes, hi.
How
Who's
are
this?
you?
Who's this?
This is Dr. Rao.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. So you are listening to our relationship talk on New Year resolutions.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think? What is your take?
I just woke up. I'm not up yet. I just opened up the app.
Okay. All right.
That was
You want to
just
keep
came.
listening then?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for, I listen a little bit, but I have to focus more.
Okay. All right.
Have a nice day. Happy New Year.
Happy New
I'll
Year
listen
too.
to you again.
Okay.
Okay, bye bye.
All right. So that is something that we want to pay attention to. What are we doing with our planet? What is the relationship to that responsibility of keeping it, alert and awake? Those kind of things. Okay. Let us see what happens with okay.
Alright.
All right, so we will see what happens with other things that we can pay attention to. How about our friends? What kind of keeping up we are doing? Are we giving them a call, or are we texting them? Or it used to be so personalized uh, when we were growing up, so we used to visit each other and sit down with each other and have a cup of coffee or something like that. It was a wonderful moment. But with this chatting, with this text messaging, with all the social media, people are really hooked to their phones rather than to the people that are surrounding them. So that is a tragedy, I think. So we need to come back to personalize our relationship so that our devices won't come in. We can use the devices very constructively to improve the relationship for communication and all that if you are away from where. But otherwise, looking at them on the video and talking to them also, they're much preferred than this text messages and all that. Convenience you can do, but if they are important to you, their relationship is important, you want to know what is happening with them, You want to know what are their aspirations, where they are. Catching up with their friends, I think is a good deal. I think everybody knows about this. I'm not trying to preach or anything, but I'm just bringing attention to see whether it is escaping your attention or not. Then, if you pay attention, am I spending quality time with my friends or not? Then, uh, all the social media and these devices can help or can make it very mechanical. So I want to humanize, I want to talk to them, and then I want to really help people to realize that there is so much more you can gain on that. For example, one of my friends. He always promises that he's going to call, he's going to write, he's going to get in touch and all that. But he gets wired up in his own activities. He kind of forgets about that. And that is kind of, I have to do everything by myself. Then after a while, I kind of back off and do my own thing too. That can happen too, right? We're not cut off, but we don't have the quality time as much as we wanted to. You know, sometimes you can catch up in a day after 6 months. But if you don't spend that day and take it for granted, and other relationships may not be kind to that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Relationship with your social media devices, the way we are communicating, and all that, especially with this artificial intelligence is coming up. It's going to attack our attention span much more. That is their aim. They want your attention, so they give everything free. But if you cannot afford to give attention to them because you have other things to attend to, they cut in with a lot of attractive things, and then we get, if we don't pay attention, we get sucked into that, and then that becomes a habit. I heard so many times from Clubhouse people complaining about that, and it has become an addiction for them. And when they are in so many rooms that really do not matter in their lives, and all that information, it could be valuable for somebody but may not be for you because you are not able to implement that. And that is how brain fog happening. Too many rooms, too much of unclarity, too much of unnecessary things. And so if you are intentional from the morning, what I'm going to do on the social media today, how I'm going to use it, what are my other things, and then be very intentional, really aggressive on that, you will be able to handle the relationship with the social media better. Actually, AI is causing a lot of concern for us because people may not have anything to do because the work is mostly done by robots and other people down the line. Then what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your mind that is bothering you? So that's very important to understand how to deal with the modern technologies and make them really useful but not harmful to us. Okay, so we reviewed relationship with us, with the loved ones, with our jobs, with our communities, and with our planet. And I can go on this, but if somebody wants to come up and join on this, that will be fine too. And otherwise, we can end the session also. And hopefully, I have added something, and then people can contribute to the discussion also. Let's see whether Anjali here or some other people are here, whether they want to come and talk. Anybody on the wisdom app, do you want to come up and talk? That will be fine too. Let me see who, any of those people I did. I know I can ask them to come up. Uh, yeah. Yeah, there's so many people in here. Okay. All right. If everybody is satisfied with what I was talking about, and if you want to come up, please come up and we can continue this talk. Otherwise, I will be ending in a few minutes, and hopefully this has added. And then tomorrow again, I will open up, and this time I'm going to talk about energy how to not to deplete our energy and how to replete our energy, how to be in a ever renewing energy. This is a pet topic for me because as a physician, informatician, and also yoga practitioner, I have certain kind of discipline where I will see the energy is not depleted at least. That means deliberately I'm not depleting it. For example, if I'm doing a task and then I'm thinking about something that is not relevant for the task now, but something my mind goes to the past and I live there and not paying enough attention, that is unnecessary depletion of energy and also not being able to really get the job done. I may have to focus more on that and then spend more time, more resources, and all that. Instead, if you are really focused on what you are doing, that means complete attention to what you are doing, then you will win the flow. Actually, you kind of get energy from the completion of task because you feel good about yourself and all that. So that's a simple tip I gave you, but I will go more detail into that, and I hope everybody will come and participate in that. And that's what would make me much more happier if I see some involvement and people participating in that. Okay, so with that, I will close down so that we can do tomorrow's again, tomorrow at 8 o'clock Central Time. And thank you for joining me, all the people on the Instagram and the Wisdom and also on the Clubhouse. If you have any other questions, you can direct message me, or if you want me to talk about certain other subject also, I'll be able to, present that here too. Thank you, and I will see you again tomorrow morning.